This is TWiT.
Is there a challenge that comes out of having VC funding? Because I mean, it's not something I've ever really done, but it seems as though they would have expectations of you. Do they, as much as you can possibly speak to this, I suppose, do they set goals for you and say we'd like you to be X size?
I'm not sure quite how much I can say, but I would say that Bold Start have been actually really amazing as a VC. Their focus is mainly on developer tools, and they do get it. They get not just focusing on good developer tooling, but also enabling it to grow and to grow in a sustainable way. I've been really impressed, and we were very happy that we were able to talk with them and eventually secure their funding. So we have Bold Start. We have a variety of other investors as well, investors and advisors, all of whom have been nothing but supportive of a sustainable approach to growth. So focusing on developing the product rather than things like revenue metrics and things. I'm very happy with our investors and believe that they will help us to grow in a good way.
That's brilliant. And having been through this process, do you have any advice for anybody who might be watching? I'm not asking you to give away the farm here or anything, but you know, if somebody's coming up to do a pitch for investors, do you have any tips or advice that might be useful? Is there anything you've learned through that?
Probably just be yourself, really. We spoke to a number of investors as part of the process, or potential investors. And I think when we opened up and were ourselves, allowed ourselves to be vulnerable, told the plain truth, it ensured that we actually attracted the right investors to engage with. We had the right investors and everybody had the right expectations from the outset.
I'm curious about how easy this was for you to do. And I ask because you don't strike me as a born salesman, and I don't mean to insult you that way, because I strike myself that way. I'm an extrovert. I love talking to people. I love going out and pitching, and I have an almost unbroken failure record at doing that. So I'm wondering, I mean, you've been very successful there. I mean, you got $4 million in seed funding, as you were saying, but you've got people from Puppet, Apache Software, Foundation, Object Style, Oracle, a lot of individuals. Did they just come piling in after the initial ones? I mean, what happened there that you got all these? I mean, it's an enviable pile of people that you got backing you there.
Yeah. So quite honestly, I'm a terrible introvert. I'm the biggest introvert in the world, and very frankly, it was my co-founder Sergey who did virtually all of the work with engaging with potential investors, and so whilst I personally have had a very, I think, quite easy journey in this, and I'm very grateful for that. He actually did have to work quite hard, but it was a case of a bit of luck about contacts, but also there was a really interesting thing as well, which happened during the pandemic, that all of a sudden talking to VCs from countries around the world. So for example, Sergey is in Germany, I'm in the UK. All of a sudden talking to a potential investor over Zoom was a thing that you could do rather than having to fly out to their office and give them a presentation. So I think that made a bit of a difference. We did have many advantages and privileges along the way, but the pandemic did open some doors that previously would have been closed before.
Oh, that's really interesting that the pandemic actually created opportunities as well, because we hear so much about all the things that it's denied us. It's nice to hear that there's some opportunities created there.